Welcome aboard, curiosity seekers and thrill lovers. Today, we're touring the world's top 10 most dangerous airports in 2024. Fasten your seatbelts because it's going to be a bumpy ride. From runways perched precariously on cliffs to airstrips shared with, actual pedestrian traffic, these airports are not for the faint of heart. Or perhaps they are, since, ironically, you're less likely to die in a plane crash than crossing the street. So sit back, relax, and try not to grip the armrests too tightly as we explore these aviation marvels. And if you happen to be watching this on a plane right now, well, maybe just switch to something a little more calm. First up, we're heading to the Caribbean island of Saba, home to the Juancho e Irawisquin Airport. Now, I know what you're thinking. This airport sounds delightful. Like a place where I could sip a margarita and watch the sunset. And you'd be right, except for one tiny detail. The runway is shorter than a Kardashian marriage. Seriously, it's only about 1,300 feet long, which is basically the length of 4 football fields. Not ideal when you're trying to land a giant metal bird carrying hundreds of terrified passengers. To add insult to injury, the runway is flanked by cliffs on one side and the ocean on the other. At least the views are incredible, right? And if you're a pilot landing here, well, let's just say you've earned your frequent flyer miles. Next, we're jetting off to the beautiful island of Madeira, Portugal, where the airport is just as stunning as the scenery. But don't let the beauty fool you, because landing at Madeira Airport is like trying to thread a needle with a Boeing 747. The runway is built on a platform extending out over the ocean, which is all well and good until you factor in the notorious crosswinds. Not exactly a recipe for relaxation, is it? Even experienced pilots have been known to break a sweat when approaching Madeira Airport. But you can say you landed on an airport that's basically an engineering marvel. From sunny Portugal, we're taking a chilly detour to the coldest place on Earth, Antarctica. Specifically, we're landing at McMurdo Station Airport, where the runway is made entirely of ice. Now, you might be thinking, ice, that sounds slippery, and you'd be right because it is. But it's consistent with the whole frozen wasteland theme. Landing on an ice runway is tricky enough as it is, but McMurdo throws in an extra challenge. Imagine trying to land a plane when you can't see anything beyond the nose of the aircraft. Now, before we continue our death-defying journey, a quick word from our sponsors. Just kidding! This is where we remind you to subscribe. Hit the notification bell and like the video. It really helps us out and lets us know you're enjoying this roller coaster ride through aviation anxiety. Don't worry, we'll wait. Done? Great. Nestled in the heart of St. Martin, Princess Juliana International Airport exudes a unique charm that captures the essence of Caribbean allure. Surrounded by amazing beaches and azure waters, this airport offers a gateway to paradise for travelers from around the globe. Yet, amid its picturesque setting lies a runway challenge unlike any other. With aircraft descending just meters above sunbathers, the Princess Juliana runway tests the nerves of even the most seasoned pilots. Its proximity to Maho Beach provides an unparalleled experience, where visitors can feel the roar of jet engines as planes gracefully touch down. Next up, we're heading to the French Alps, where the Courchevel Altiport awaits. Nestled amidst snow-capped peaks and breathtaking scenery, this airport is a sight to behold. Picture a short, sloping runway that ends abruptly at the edge of a cliff. Oh, and did I mention the runway is also surrounded by mountains? So pilots have to navigate tight turns and steep inclines, all while trying not to clip a wing on a snowdrift. But hey, you can brag about landing at one of the highest airports in Europe. We're flying to the Himalayas, home to the Paro International Airport in Bhutan. This airport is so dangerous, so utterly terrifying that only 8 pilots in the entire world are certified to land there. 8. You'd think it was easier to get into Harvard than land a plane in Paro. And why is it so dangerous? Well, imagine trying to land a plane surrounded by 18,000-foot peaks. It's basically like trying to squeeze a jumbo jet into a parking space the size of a postage stamp. Pilots have to navigate treacherous winds, narrow valleys, and sudden drops in altitude, all while trying not to clip a wing on a mountain. And if you survive the experience, you'll have earned bragging rights for life. Just maybe avoid mentioning the part where you thought you were going to become a permanent fixture on the side of Mount Everest. Whoa! Speaking of Mount Everest, our next stop takes us to the Tenzing Hillary Airport in Nepal. This airport is named after Sir Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, the first people to conquer Everest. And just like climbing Everest, landing at this airport is no walk in the park. In fact, it's more like a death-defying leap into the unknown. The runway is incredibly short, just 1,729 feet long and perched precariously on the edge of a cliff. Did I mention the runway also slopes downwards? So pilots have to land uphill and take off downhill, which is basically like trying to drive a car on a roller coaster. Just avoid looking down while you're disembarking the plane. From the Himalayas, we're heading to the Scottish Isles where the Barra Airport awaits. Now, this airport is unique for a couple of reasons. First, it's the only I-port in the world where scheduled flights land on a beach. Yes, you heard that right, a beach. Second, it's often shrouded in fog, which makes landing here a bit like playing a game of aviation roulette. Imagine trying to land a plane on a beach that disappears and reappears at random intervals. Pilots have to rely on their instruments and their gut instincts to land safely at Barra Airport. And if you survive the experience, you'll have earned yourself a dram of whiskey. Next, we're flying to the British overseas territory of Gibraltar, where the airport is as unique as the rock itself. You see, Gibraltar International Airport has a rather peculiar feature. Its runway intersects a main road. Yes, you heard that right, a road! It's the only airport in the world where you can literally walk across the runway. Now you might be thinking, that sounds incredibly dangerous, and you'd be right, because it is. Imagine trying to land a plane while cars and pedestrians are crossing the runway. And finally, we've reached our final destination, Lukla Airport in Nepal. Often dubbed the world's most dangerous airport, this airport is the gateway to Mount Everest, and it's not for the faint of heart. The runway is incredibly short, just 1,729 feet long, and perched precariously on the edge of a cliff. And the runway also slopes upwards at a 12-degree angle. So pilots have to land uphill and take off downhill, which is like trying to ride a bike up a mountain. And if that wasn't enough, the airport is often shrouded in fog and subject to strong winds. It's basically like trying to land a plane on a roller coaster while blindfolded and being buffeted by a hurricane. But hey, at least you can say you landed at the world's most dangerous airport. Well, thanks for flying with us on this turbulent tour. We hope you enjoyed the ride or at least managed to keep your lunch down. Remember, it's safer up here than crossing the street, or is it? Actually, let's not dwell on that. The point is, flying is still a marvel of modern engineering, even if it occasionally involves dodging mountains, sharing tarmac with pedestrians, or landing on beaches. And it's more exciting than sitting in traffic, right? So the next time you're boarding a plane, take a moment to appreciate the skill and bravery of the pilots who navigate these aerial obstacle courses. And if you happen to be flying to any of the airports featured on this list, well, good luck. You'll need it. Until next time, safe travels and stay curious.